Sunday. Welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. It is the day after Christmas, and as is always the case with, the week of Christmas and then this little week after. Very slow news week. Not much going on in the world of the news. But there is one big story that I think I missed, because I had it on my list and I think I missed it. Oh no, it broke last week. The one big story of last week was, we know who is going to be the Batman of Leslie Grace's Batgirl movie. Now, you'll remember a few months ago, Leslie Grace put out a statement saying that, quote, the real Batman was going to be in the Batgirl movie, with, who the real Batman is being up for debate, considering there's like 12 Batmen on TV, and then there's always the option that they just recast entirely. They said, she said that it is the real one's going to be in it. So we now know who the real one is going to be. It's going to be Michael Keaton. Now, me personally, I'm not entirely for this, because here's the thing. I want characters to have their chance to shine, and for new characters to not be overshadowed by nostalgia trips. And I'm going to put a spoiler warning here, because I want to address, why it's different for No Way Home than it is for both The Flash and for Batgirl. Because No Way Home, hangs its hat, or mask, figuratively, on the fact that there are a bunch of, villains from across movies. There's one villain per movie, with Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, and then Lizard and Electro showing up. A Sinister Five, if you will, showing up to do battle against Spider-Man from the MCU, and then both the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield, the Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And, here's the thing. With that, this is now the third movie in Peter Parker's, journey. And really, his journey as we know it starts even before we meet him in Civil War. But we've seen him in Civil War, then Homecoming, then Infinity War, then Endgame, then, because, this entire thing is, we are not, getting to the end where we're saying, oh, it's banking on nostalgia. Sorry, something fell off my seat into my, sandwich from the other day, sandwich tray. And, we're not banking on nostalgia. We are, we're doing that here. And I think a lot of that decision had to do with the pandemic, as, this will be the movie that got people back in theaters, and it worked, because it's the number two movie of all time in the opening weekend. It does have a bit of a drop-off, but that was to be expected due to the pandemic. So, it is one of those things where it's this worked, but they built to it. They may have introduced the multiverse and all of that in this one movie, but narratively we understand it, and narratively it's come from there. It's not with this stuff, we haven't had a chance to develop this Barry Allen in the Flash movie. We're jumping right into Flashpoint without being okay, so here is who Barry Allen is. Barry Allen is a good person because this happened, and he's not going to let that affect him, and he's still going to become the good person, become the hero. Because at its core, for that movie to work, you do need, you do need, the relationship between the Flash and the Reverse Flash to have been established. That's why they don't jump in with Flashpoint, even at the end of season 1 of the show, where they have the chance to do that, where Barry is given the option to go back in time and save his mother's life, and he gets to the path, and he gets to that point and future him waves himself off because he knows what's going to happen. And, not giving that opportunity to develop is a major hindrance. It's a major, major hindrance to telling the story. Because they're more committed to getting the nostalgia trip of other characters coming in. Like, it's the same thing with, Multiverse of Madness will almost certainly feature more cameos from other people, be it, someone from the X-Men universe, someone from the old Fantastic Four movies. There's a solid chance that we get someone from the from even Trank's Fantastic Four movie. Like, there are plenty of options here, plenty of options that are on the table, and but the thing is, we've established them. We're not jumping right in with this. And yeah, I think there's a solid chance that Multiverse of Madness could be bloated, especially if we saw the trailer. The trailer was formally released online, where, we see America Chavez showing up. We see, Wanda's there, and we have to deal with all that. And I think the trailer is misdirecting us a little bit about how, about how Wanda's not actually going to be the bad guy, and he's looking for Wanda for help. I think that's a bit of a misdirect, and I think that, Strange Supreme is there too, but he's not going to be the bad guy either. But yeah, I guess I feel like this is I don't want to say missed opportunity, because a missed opportunity implies that we know the outcome of this. But the thing is, it's like, I think it speaks to a lack of faith that Warner Brothers has in the IP, and because it doesn't have because there's no, if there was faith that this movie would do well and be able to stand on its own 2 feet without having to worry about without having to worry about the impending loss of, what would happen if people don't go and see it. It's like the Michael Keaton of it all is them saying, we think we need someone else here to draw viewers in. Which speaks more to the perceived strength of the script and the perceived strength of everything else going along with it than it does about, the movie's quality. And I think it's going to leave a lot of people with a weird taste in them. I know it makes me a little bit hesitant now, where I'm like, well, how, if this movie could stand on its own, we don't need to make this into Batman Beyond. And you will remember that I've been saying a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton and as Bruce Wayne and Timothée Chalamet as Terry McGinnis would be great. I would watch that movie. And if they go that route with this, then that's fine. But the thing is, those are 2 different characters. Like, there's a difference between Terry and Barbara Gordon. Like, they're not interchangeable. And I think that, having Batman as a mentor in this situation would be different. Only because it's like her dad, the tragic backstory behind Terry McGinnis is similar enough to Batman, where he's like, I can't in good conscience say to this kid, don't do what I did, so it's in my best interest to do what I can to keep them alive. But I think that in a world where, if he's going to take on that role to Barbara Gordon, I feel like that is a little bit irresponsible of him. I mean, look, I'm going to watch it anyway. It's going to HBOMax. I think it's going late next year to HBOMax. I'm going to watch the movie. But I feel like if they had confidence in this script, they wouldn't have gone out of their way to put Michael Keaton in this movie. Because I think that had that been the case, and they were like, oh, this is 100% going to be, the best, this is going to be a great movie, and this is going to be able to build a franchise on the back of, I feel like they would have just been like, okay, so here is Batgirl, enjoy Batgirl, and you will like this movie. It is, it is a Batgirl movie. I think that's a failing on the part of this movie if they don't, what's it called? If they don't if they do that in that way. So, I don't know. But that's my general feeling about this in general. Where it's like, back when Batman v Superman came out and it made $800 million, someone did a mock-up of, like, fake, posters or fake logos like Batman v Superman, but for all of the other characters, to be like, oh, and here's how they're going to insert Batman into every other movie. And I'm just like, we don't need necessarily to have Batman in every other movie. It's funny, but that's not going to happen. And yet here we are. I mean, look, I think that if they did a Batgirl movie and Batman was not there, it would have been a little bit weird. But Batwoman made it work. Like, if Batwoman can make it work, why can't Batgirl make it work? And the amount of things that they've done on TV without being able to reference the characters, have the characters on screen. It's been 2 seasons to have Batman be on screen on Titans. And Titans, has Nightwing in the lead role. And, there's a recurring character of, who's recurring in that? Jason Todd's recurring on that show. So, there are plenty of, ways to do that. It took them 5 seasons to even reference Bruce Wayne as a human being on Arrow, which is, like, the most obvious thing, like, where, like, they don't reference Wayne anywhere. I mean, I think it's briefly mentioned on The Flash when they do, like, the newspaper, as, like, Wayne Tech or like, Wayne Corp is buying out, what was it called? Queen Consolidated or some bullshit like that. But I don't feel like, you don't necessarily need to build a franchise on the back of, the Batman. It's because you just let the character... Because the thing is, too, it's like, they're not putting Michael Keaton into the Batman. They're not putting Michael Keaton into, other movies like that. Like, Shazam didn't have a Batman. There's a Batarang in the movie, but that wasn't a selling point of the movie. It's like, if you're doing that for that character, then why do we need to do this? So yeah, I'm hesitant to be able to say one way or the other what's going on there is good. But speaking of casting other Justice League members in movies, they did just add a major cast member to Shazam, according to reports. Apparently, it makes sense. When we think about what this movie's about, it would have been a little bit weird if, this character wasn't about. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, it deals with Greek gods. I think Hespera's in it, Calypso. Rachel Zegler is playing a third one, who they haven't named yet. But in that world, there is a DC character who is in that same world, who is very much tied to the Greek gods. And I think that if this person didn't show up, it'd be a little weird. And that person is Wonder Woman. And allegedly Gal Gadot has been added to the script. But the thing is, that makes sense. And it's not like, they're bringing back Linda Carter to do that. It's not like, and it's not, again, Linda Carter is going to be in Wonder Woman 3, but Linda Carter was not in Wonder Woman 1 to take the spotlight away from the new character. And that's kind of the big deal here. It's like, you are taking the spotlight off of the main character, putting it onto what could probably be a glorified cameo, but for whoever it is showing up for the day or two of work and doing that. Now, I don't know how big of a role Linda Carter's going to have in Wonder Woman 3, but it would be if in 1 she was there. It's the same thing with, like, Ghostbusters Afterlife, where the original Ghostbusters show up to solve the problem at the end, and I'm like, yeah, all of those who yell about, oh, it's poor writing anytime there's a woman character, like, you have a literal Deus Ex Machina when the fucking original Ghostbusters show up to save the day. But that's okay, because it's 3 old guys who you saw 40 years ago in a movie. So yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with some aspects of this. I'm not okay with other aspects of this. I'm going to watch the movie anyway, but I feel like I wanted to get my point across that we're in this kind of weird time where nostalgia is selling, and nostalgia can be distilled and bottled in a unique way. And while that's possible, we're going to be getting these movies where it's like, oh, and here's someone from your childhood back again. And if Adam West was still alive, you can bet your ass he would have been there. So we'll wrap up there for today. We'll be back with Beware of Spoilers this week on Licorice Pizza and Book of Boba Fett episode 1. I think they're only dropping one episode, I think, on Wednesday, and I feel like there was something else. It's a slow week, so I might see one more movie and then do the year in review. So until then, have a great rest of your week.